We all know so many startups in tech, finance, health, education, and so many more sectors. But how many startups do you know in architecture? It is fair to say that the startup culture is not as popular between architects compared to other fields. But there are so many architects and people from architecture background that have established innovative and creative startup companies, some of which have changed the way we live and work every single day. So in this video, I decided to introduce you to my 5 favorite architecture startup companies who have transformed their innovative ideas to ventures to change the world for better. Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. My name is Amir and I'm a Part 2 architecture graduate based in London, and I have been always interested in architecture as a methodology for solving problems instead of architecture as a product. When we study at university, we encounter so many different issues in various contexts, even outside the built environment sometimes, and we learn to find spatial and sometimes even non-spatial solutions for each of these problems. We learn to use our skill set to overcome these challenges in multiple ways. We also sometimes learn to set the brief ourselves and identify a problem that needs to be solved in a peculiar context. In a way, we have a lot of freedom when we are in university, as we get to set our own brief and use our own methodology to encounter each brief without being limited to proposing a singular solution or product, in this case buildings, to every brief. However, when we graduate and start working in the architecture industry, we are quite the opposite in terms of how much freedom we have. We don't get to choose our clients, and usually our clients choose us. We don't get to set our own brief, and we don't get to set any brief that's not architectural. Clients come to us because they already know that they want a building, so we don't have much say in the product itself. We only have some say in how that product looks or functions. That's why working in the conventional architecture industry can be very limiting for those who see themselves as more of a problem solver rather than a building designer. And here is where some architects decide to step beyond the architecture industry and practice as entrepreneurs, proposing smart and radical ideas to make people's life better. Now let me introduce you to my top 5 favorite architecture startups, or better to say, startups founded by architects. The first architecture startup that I want to talk about has changed how people work in the past decade, and it's called WeWork. WeWork was founded in 2010 by architect Miguel McKelvey and his non-architect co-founder Adam Newman. Back in 2010, Miguel and Adam spotted a gap in the market when major cities across the country had large amount of empty real estate left behind by companies that hadn't survived the recession. Also, in that time, the recession had forced a lot of professionals into freelancing and contract positions. Now that they didn't have conventional employers, they needed professional office spaces where they could work, meet clients, and conduct other business tasks. So WeWork started to buy real estate at low prices to meet this evolving need. Many startups realized that WeWork's flexible workspace sharing concept made it possible to keep costs low while giving them the option to expand as needed. WeWork became a public company in 2021, being worth more than $9 billion. Proxy Address is one of my all-time favorite startups, and most of my friends will literally punch me in my face if I talk to them about Proxy Address one more time. In short, Proxy Address is a social enterprise founded by architect Chris Hildrey, which assigns unused postcodes of London to those who are homeless to be able to receive support and get back on their feet. Chris is an architect previously working for many Starchitect practices like Zaha Hadid, OMA, and Foster's. But at the same time, he is a huge advocate of using architecture training to practice beyond architecture and be more like a problem solver rather than a building designer. He actually has a really interesting TED Talk about this, so if you like this kind of mindset, I highly recommend watching it. Skyroom is another venture co-founded by my tutor Louis Kinnear, which uses the airspace to build new homes on top of existing houses to reduce the land cost and tackle housing crisis, or as they call it, the land crisis in London. Their approach in developing new houses has positive social impacts through delivering them, benefiting the environment by helping to tackle the climate crisis and positive economic impact through increasing the density of cities and also increasing the yield and revenue within the landowner's existing portfolio. WikiHouse is an open source housing design platform where everyone can use it to design their house by adjusting its parameters in the platform and get it delivered in pieces of timber panels to the site. These pieces can be assembled like an IKEA set by yourself and the help of a couple of more people until the entire building is completed. This means the building is faster and easier to build, as well as being customizable and more environmentally friendly than a typically constructed modern house. Cove Tool is an automated design platform for intelligent building performance, 3D visualization, and parametric optimization. Using machine learning, the optimization for the Cove Tool keeps improving as it offers a variety of environmental, energy, water, daylight, cost, and carbon analysis to architects and developers. Such tools will become essential in the near future to use by any architect, as they will provide accurate analytics as well as saving so much time and money by automating the whole process. So here are my 5 favorite architecture startups, but I have to admit that I have another bunch of architecture startups that are doing super interesting work within and outside architecture, which I didn't get just enough time to introduce. So stay tuned for any new videos where I bring more of them with me. Generally, we can see a trend of new startups using technologies such as artificial intelligence and machine learning to automate a lot of tasks for us as architects, as well as generating more accurate and better quality outputs. In a future video, I will talk about different ways that artificial intelligence can help us in architecture and also introduce my favorite architecture and AI companies in the market. I hope you have enjoyed watching this video, and if you did, don't forget to like the video as well as subscribing to the channel, as it will help the video to reach more people. I hope you have a great rest of the day and see you in the next video.